All right, hey guys, welcome back to today's video. And like I said yesterday, Trump and the GOP are really just trying to put their thumb on the scale and basically steal the 2026 midterms and definitely the 2028 presidential election too. I have no doubt about that because they know they're cooked in a free and fair election, right? Burnt toast type shit. They know it, we know it, everybody knows it. They know that we know it. So what are they doing? They are laying the groundwork to do some shady, underhand stuff and screw over the Democrats and the entire American voting public. Which, I mean, are you surprised? Now, there's a brand new way that they're doing it. I want you to take a look at this. I'll put it up on the screen. This comes from a data and political analysis who used to be an election official, so somebody who actually knows what the fuck he's talking about. He says, just spoke with a GOP operative who suggested this is a telegraph of a potentially incoming Trump executive order. An executive order cannot force states to compel voters to show ID to vote, but what they can do is station federal agents at polling places who would conduct the ID check. So, in other words, we're just starting off with an illegal ID check. So that's sick. It's really cool. And then there's this a striker bill being heard in the Arizona Senate that would require county election officials to enter into an agreement with ICE, allowing them to enter voting centers and polling places. And this is exactly what people on the left had been, warning you about. This is what we warned the public about all the way up until the 2024 elections. Um, Trump now essentially has his own secret police, his own Gestapo. It's a paramilitary that is completely unprofessional and totally untrained, as they are just taking anybody who's loyal to Donald Trump, and they are fully convinced that they are Trump's personal muscle. So whatever he tells them to do, they are going to do it, no questions asked. Just look at that freak Bavino. The whole thing with him got so out of control that even Trump had to be like, we're gonna have to pull you back a little bit. And then that's why they pushed Homan for it, because Homan is theoretically a little bit more moderate. Like, yeah, he's awful, but he's slightly less unhinged and insane. And that's just the bar at where we're at right now. That's what we're working with. And there's really nothing stopping Trump here except Donald Trump himself. And what they're doing is they're laying out a clear strategy. They work at the state level, coordinate with ICE at the federal level, because ICE is going to be Trump's tool when he inevitably starts screaming fraud. And you know exactly when that's going to happen. The second a red mirage plays out, which is very likely, Republicans are up on election night and the mail in votes start coming in. Democrats take a big lead, and Trump immediately loses his fucking mind on Truth Social at 3 a.m., screaming about fraud and vote dumps and how it's being stolen again. Hugo Chavez is doing it from beyond the fucking grave, yeah? The dead Venezuelan president again. Same exact script from 2020, just dust it off for 2026. Rinse and repeat. The cult will eat it the fuck up. Um, and the plan to deal with that, the moment Democrats start pulling ahead as mail-in ballots get counted, he's going to call it suspicious. He's going to, again, scream about these massive vote dumps, and he's going to send in ICE. And look, just seeing masked federal agents in full military gear standing outside your polling place is going to stop people from going in to vote. That's the whole point. That is textbook voter intimidation. And then throw the illegal ID checks on top of that. And come on, man. Like, we are already dealing with the Save Act bullshit, where they basically want you to have a passport, which is a modern day polling tax, as is. I'm surprised they don't want you to have a note from God just to vote at this point. They're really just trying to shut down as many people as possible from voting. And they want, armed feds at the door making sure that that plan sticks. That is what we are up against in 2026 and in 2028. Trump fully intends to have ICE at polling places on election day, and the second things start going the Democrats' way, which is going to happen because he is so deeply unpopular and everybody hates him, he's going to go fucking ape shit and he's going to do something drastic. Um, the moment those ballots or machines get touched, the moment the chain of custody is broken, the election is tainted, and we will never know the real results. And I don't trust these motherfuckers one bit. The whole administration is full of liars, crooks, pedophiles. They all belong in handcuffs and in jail for the rest of their lives. Um, and there is something else that I thought was crazy. So you know how right wing MAGA fucking dipshit bought the Dominion voting systems, the same company the right spent years lying about and saying stole the 2020 election. Well, they bought it and they renamed it Liberty. And now, what a coincidence! A Missouri federal judge basically went looking for has allowed the feds to seize the Fulton County, Georgia ballots from 2020. They found a crack in the wall and kicked right through it, and now they have all these ballots they've been lying about for 5 years. And my guess is Trump is setting up to have Tulsi Gabbard come out and announce that, wow, turns out Fulton County really was stolen. See, I told you guys so. And they're probably already leaning on Maduro to confirm he helped steal it for Biden in exchange for some type of deal, financial, what it be, because that's just how this works. And this is gonna be a big ask, but we really do need everybody to get involved for this election. It's very important, especially considering the executive order that Trump signed last year, 1424/8. It sets new rules for how elections are run and says states have to be in compliance with their voting machines or they lose federal funding. And who is automatically considered in compliance? Liberty, of course, is automatically considered in compliance. Formerly Dominion, Liberty bought by a right winger, now owned by Mega Trump Gone, they're automatically in compliance. So states are going to be financially pushed into using Liberty machines. Um, some people are saying states that don't comply will basically get their elections written off as illegitimate or at least get cut off from funding in a way that makes the whole process a fucking mess. So none of us should be trusting Liberty at all. They were used in half the states in 2024, back when they were still called Dominion. If you lived in one of those states, honestly, you should probably call your senators, your representatives, and your governor to tell them not to use these machines. And I'll put a screenshot of the states that use them. Um, and this is the biggest part, is that you need to make sure that you're registered to vote. They will do ballot purging. They'll do ballot spoiling. They will specifically go after, minority communities, black, brown, and even some of the Hispanic communities, now that we have these pollings coming out of how they're switching, back towards the left, uh, you know, in face of the current immigration policy of Donald Trump. Um, so you really do need to make sure that you are registered to vote, because there are real documented efforts to get these types of people kicked off the rolls. You show up on election day and they tell you you're not registered, and if your state doesn't have same day registration, you are just shit out of luck. Or they hand you a provisional ballot, and only about a half of those get counted anyways. So go check your registration right now and vote on election day. If Democrats are, piling up on election day, which typically is stronger for Republicans, but if Democrats show up in force on election day, it's a lot harder for them to, run the suspicious overnight vote dump story. So vote in person on election day and check your registration first. And to be honest, it should be illegal for private companies to run our elections, right? Then, that's fucking wild to me on its own. Like, how is a MAGA owned private company owning voting machines that are going to be used in federal elections? Like, how does that make any sense? Could you imagine if some left wing fucking multimillionaire or some shit owned the voting machines? Republicans would fucking lose their minds. They would never let that happen in a million years. But a Trump loyalist owning the machines used in half the country, apparently that's totally okay. Nobody bats an eye. It's fucking hunky dory. Like, is it not an insane conflict of interest? And everyone should be furious about it. Like, even people on the right should be mad about it because it is completely undermining the election. But, anyways, call your officials and demand those machines get replaced. Also, there's this one made me laugh. Trump has been sharing an old American News report that falsely claimed Dominion switched votes in 2020. The same report that got ONN, Fox News, and Newsmax all sued by Dominion, and they all fucking settled for hundreds of millions of dollars. And he's out here reposting this shit in 2026 like nothing ever happened. The report claims states using Dominion may have switched as many as 435,000 votes from President Trump's, and it's a total lie. It's a lie that has cost people hundreds of million dollars in court. and he's just out here posting it again like it's nothing. The same report also claims 2.7 million Trump's votes were deleted, including almost a million in Pennsylvania alone. Like, Donald Trump is deeply unwell. Like, his brain doesn't function correctly, I think. And here's what you have to understand. It's not random though. He is not just out there posting old clips because he's bored. This is deliberate. The more he repeats 2020 was stolen, 2020 was stolen, 2020 was stolen, the easier it becomes to say they stole it before and they're doing it again right now. And so I have no choice but to step in and stop them from stealing it again. And that is exactly how he's going to frame it. He is going to position himself as the one protecting democracy while he's actively destroying it. That's the projection. He accuses everyone else of doing the exact thing that he's already in the middle of doing. It's the same move every time. The GOP has been doing it for a decade. So it's not good. 2026 is going to get ugly pretty fast, I think. Um, Again, like I said yesterday, the GOP sees the writing on the wall. They see that the end is near for the MAGA movement, and they're not going to go out quietly. They're going to do every single illegal action in the book to try to hold on to that last bit of power that they have. So again, um, just call your Democratic officials at the state level and be very direct. We need local police, state police, and the National Guard ready to go because we may actually need them to stop ICE from illegally grabbing ballots and intimidating people from voting because they are going to try to do it. Absolutely going to try to do it. And if they pull it off, uh, that's the end of American democracy, I guess. So that's all I got for you today. Peace.